And let's see how fast this thing goes. Oh boy, this thing is really, really hauling. Though you would have probably expected a little bit more from a car. Okay, you know what? I can't expect much more than that. That was a 10-second. So I had a bit of a look at this body and thought, this looks a bit like the Dodge Challenger, but it's from 1985. And 1985 muscle cars looked nothing kinda like this. So I thought, let's try and make a retro recreation of a muscle car. Now the goal is to have 1,000 horsepower and really kind of modern suspension. So it's going to be made of steel because it's still American, so steel is the name of the game. It's going to be front longitudinal, sorry. A McPherson strut on the front and probably double wishbone on the rear. And now time for a big V8. Now we can't have superchargers, but actually no, you know what? Yes, we are going to run the supercharger mod for this. Then cast. Compression will stay about there. Cam profile will be fairly low. Single intake. A performance intake manifold, even though there's going to be a supercharger there, but that'd be basically what it is. And then it probably runs sort of premium. Short cast dual, high flare 3-way. There we go. Quite enough, but still pretty good. 223 kilowatts, that's okay. So we want 1,000 horsepower, and we're going to guess that the supercharger will probably put on about 200 kilowatts, maybe we'll say 300 kilowatts, and we'll see what we do with the supercharger later. Oh, would you look at that? It's double overhead cam. By the looks of it, I'm just going to go and assume that since the coil packs go right in the middle there, so there's probably a cam on either side. So that was my mistake. And it said it was a 6.what liter? The supercharge is 6.2 liter. Output supercharge 790. Oh, it only needs about, okay. Well, we're gonna aim for about 1,000 horsepower anyway, which is 745. So we're gonna go for about 500 kilowatts, which is actually probably quite easy. Dual over cam, 4 valves per cylinder, because why else would you have that? Well, it seems that trying to get 500 kilowatts out of this bare stock base engine without going overboard and going race and all of this kind of configuration, we might have to just go with a less powerful version? Oh, okay. So here we go, looking at this engine. It reckons it's got 475 horsepower, and that's only 354 kilowatts. And I have 380 kilowatts, which means I have more power. But that also means they're getting, like, double the amount of horsepower almost out of a frickin' supercharger, and probably a little bit of a tune, but holy cow! That is a lot of power to be drawing from a supercharger. That thing, oh my god, it's insane. Well guys, I think we're just going to have to live with this 378 kilowatts, because, wait, hold on, yeah, there we go, 380 kilowatts, and we'll just say that they did more with the supercharger. Jesus. At least it sounds good, so that makes me happy. Oh yes, the most important slider of all. Oh baby. Oh yeah, let's have that. That's not jank at all. We're gonna flare these arches just a little bit. You know, to let people know that this thing has a behemoth amount of power under it. Well, I mean, hopefully it'll have a... We haven't quite seen yet what the supercharger will do. We may have to come back to the drawing board. No flake, and we're gonna make it yellow, and we are going to put a big black stripe down it. It's gonna look really awesome, because the black stripes are bigger. Rear wheel drive! And I really don't want to do this, but advanced automatic, it is a muscle car. Actually, you know what? We're gonna make this like a 2010 model. And this will probably be a 6-speed, probably? And then it's probably got a viscous LSD in it. It's gonna have radials. It's going to be a sports compound. Oh wait, if this is the race version, it does come with like a semi-slick on the front and then like little potato tires on the front, but we're not gonna go that extreme right about now. Brakes, vented, probably a 2-piston, and vented 1 pistons on the rear, probably. Wait, hold on, what size tires have we got here? 16s, at least 17s. Come on, this is the top-end sports car, but now it looks a little too thin, so we're going to make them big and chunky. Yay. Probably a semi-clad for a 2010, a little bit of brake airflow, probably a little bit extra cooling because this is going to be a big supercharged engine. Then it's probably going to be just the 4 seats, and they're going to be a sporty kind of seat. Then just a standard CD, hydraulic power steering, ABS and traction control, basic standard safety standards, because Americans are not big on paying more for how much safety really costs. A standard, a gas monotube, I suppose, and a passive sway bar. Now, what happens when... Oh, they get tucked under there, but maybe a little too snug. So we're going to raise it up just a smidge, and then give a little bit of extra room for that tire to get under there. There we go. So now the tires can nice and neatly tuck under there. What is this weird thing here? Do you guys see that? Yeah, right there. What is that? Huh. Oh, you can start to see the engine through the hood. Oh dear. Let's start at the beginning. Okay, top speed is going to be... apparently very high. Ooh, 329 kilometers an hour, 204 miles per hour. Oh, I don't know if that's entirely realistic, especially since we're about to have a buttload more power. And by a buttload more power, I mean a lot more power. This thing is going to... yeah, oh boy. Now we want drivability to be maximum for this car. There we go, 99.4. Sounds good to me. Unfortunately, we made the rear tires a little too big, so we're gonna tuck them back in and then bring these front tires out a little bit. There we go. That's a muscle car. Rear width to front width does look very muscle car-like. I am starting to maybe fall a little bit in love. Now, fixtures. We are going to want a bunch of downforce. So it looks fairly basic with this lip down here around the bottom. Nothing too overstated, and it's probably got a little bit of undercladding attached to it. So what do we have for lips? I suppose there is the... oh, you know what, actually? First, we really should deal with real downforce before we start putting fake downforce, because as we know, downforce only works if it's actually called a wing. And that one has a little bit of a lip spoiler at the back there. So we're gonna see if we can fit something nice and small on the back. That one will have to do. That doesn't quite line up the way I'd like it to, but really there's not a whole lot of choices when you want things to look like lips but actually work like spoilers. Then on the front, we are going to go a little bit cheeky here. We are going to use a mod. A little bit of something like that. 56% front. Okay, that should be fairly easy. Okay, there we go. Good, nice and done. Now let's move on and do all of the fake stuff. Gonna grab a little bit of this, which fits in there really nicely. Might try maybe lining this up with it too, to kind of like hide it in amongst this, then it doesn't really stick out quite so much. There we go, I do like that. It gives it a nice clean look, whilst actually giving downforce, which is something we sorely need with this car. Now I was gonna have this be just the boot, but maybe it has to be a bit wider. Yes, it does look like it kind of spills over a little bit onto the rest of the boot there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this just a little bit wider to fit on there. There we go. These really do need to be curved outwards, since every boot does curve a little bit, apart from really old cars in this game. Now we've probably fixed our top speed issue as well. There we go, 198 miles an hour. That sounds a little bit more realistic, but then again, we are still, you know, not massive on power, so I don't know. But for now, we are just on to beautification. And here we have the 2010, maybe? Retro resto mod type recreation of something like a Challenger, and it's under the Tanner brand. And there is so much wrong with this car, including the things which the game designers have gotten wrong themselves. So there's like a little thing here, there's a thing here, there's a thing here, and a thing here, which is not really helping. Also, the tearing of the mesh when you put things down, dog tape doesn't always quite work the way you want it to. I'm also not entirely sure about the large amounts of black that I've got all over the car to go with the yellow, and this time of day that I've set for the camera rotation. We're going to see what this thing is like with the Supercharger mod on now. I just have to remember how to do it. I did try something to make the front grille a little bit more unique. I am not sure if I've made it work, because this body really does lend itself to really only one design, and that is the Dodge Challenger look. And if I don't want to go with that, well, I'm kind of shit out of luck. So here we are, we've got the supercharger mod on, and we are creating somewhere around close to 900 PS, which I'm not sure what PS is. Hold on, give me a second. Metric horsepower is what PS is. What the hell? Anyway, let's go up to kilowatts. I can't get over that there's this thing called metric horsepower. I knew that PS was something close to horsepower, but metric, that's an oxymoron. What? How does that? Okay. Anyway, kilowatts. So we're creating 654, that's a lot of power. Jesus Christ, this thing is going to absolutely rip. We now have the supercharger on and in drag mode. And let's see how fast this thing goes. Oh boy, this thing is really, really hauling. Though you would have probably expected a little bit more from a car. Okay, you know what? I can't expect much more than that. That was a 10-second right off the bat. Holy cow. That's crazy. I was, I suppose I wasn't quite expecting that. It's got nearly 900 horsepower, though I kind of want to see what it's like if you were then to get people to individually tune it and maybe get just a smidge more power out of it. Let's say a little over 1,000 horsepower. Show you. There, just a smidgen over 1,000 PS. So you know what, that's probably actually spot on 1,000 horsepower. Let's give this a try. And full power, and I've got it set to basic transmission. Okay, this time let's do this just a little bit better, and we're gonna see what it's like to get a little over 1,000 horsepower on a thing like this. Now, to do that, it would be quite simple. You just change a little bit of a pulley, but we're not doing quite that. And we've done a 9.7. Oh my God, what happens if we take this full up? Will I be able to beat my drag cars that I've created in the past, which I don't even remember creating? A dragster? I'm gonna have to look up what that car is. That would be whatever this car is. This car must be crazy. What have I done? Anyway, let's go back and change this drive ratio just a smidge. Yeah, that should be good. How much horsepower are we going to be creating now? I get the feeling this engine might just blow. Looks like we're getting in probably somewhere around 1,300. You know what? That's not enough. Let's go for 1,500. Oh, is 2.6 as high as it goes? Okay, 2.6 is as high as it goes. Let's go for 2 PSI, which doesn't make sense, but right, let's try that out. About 1,600 PS. Alrighty, let's give this a bad boy. Let's give this bad boy a try. Okay, that's a lot of wheel spin, and we've just done an 8.8. Now, I know this engine probably wouldn't have been able to take that. It probably would have just blown the pistons out the side, but we are so close to my best times, and damn, that's a very fast car with that supercharger turn all the way up. You'd probably get probably an entire billet engine block at this point. But let's go and play with some other, top speed runs on the highway. Okay, here we are with a red version, because that one will clearly go faster. It is the supercharged, so it is creating about 870 kilowatts, I think 870 horsepower. And we're now going to see what a top speed is like in this car. So, a lot of VSC. It's really fighting it quite hard. This car just doesn't want to put that power down. So it is, yes, very much a muscle car. It's all about those numbers and how it makes you feel compared to really getting the nuance down. It's not about the nuance. Cars are about passion. They're about speed. They're about horsepower. And this thing is doing about 307-ish kilometers an hour. So we're going to quickly figure out what that is. Whoa! Made it! Nothing but net. That's what that means, right? 190 miles per hour. So, pretty hefty, especially for an American car like this. Now, I happened to notice that the engine looked a little bit funny. Let's have a look under here. Yeah, it's black under here. That's not normal for an automation car. Is that maybe the supercharger mod? Ooh, That's fancy. I like a lot. Well, let's go take this thing for another... Oh. I seem to be in a place that I shouldn't be. Oh dear. Ugh! Well, like an American car, it keeps driving even after a massive accident. This thing is just a hearty, reliable American car. Yes, it's like there's nothing wrong. Ah! Let's see how this thing does on a... Oh. Well, that wasn't meant to happen. Okay, let's try that again. And we're going to see what this thing is like. We're going to leave ESC on the entire time, and we're going to leave the torque graph up there just because I love just showing off the fact that this thing has a behemoth supercharger on here. Thanks, by the way, twinrubros, for the informational video on how to do that mod. Otherwise, I would have probably never known that the mod even existed. Oh boy, this thing is a wobbly boy when you're going around things like corners. Oh dear, I was thinking that this car was amazing. Turns out I forgot that it was a muscle car. Oh no. These are actually the first times I'm going around corners in this car, so forgive me if I'm unused to the wobbly predilection that this car has. Oh, turn. Please turn more than that. Oh dear. Well, we made it around, and we have okay suspension. I mean, it's not really that bad. We have an okay amount of downforce too. The brakes aren't overheating. This car is good. You just have to realize that it's really just a normal cruising car with a lot of horsepower for going a really high top speed or accelerating quite fast. Like, it's a normal car. That's basically what it is, except it has a party piece. It can accelerate really fast and go to really high top speed. That's it. The rest of it's just a normal ass car. And when you put the power down, it doesn't feel like a normal car. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Ugh! I didn't even have to leave a Cars and Coffee for that. This time we're gonna brake a little bit sooner. We'll say before the 100-meter mark. And it was almost enough. Oh, had to handbrake it there just to get the thing turned around. Now, if you don't know what a handbrake is, it's when you pull the handbrake on, and if you don't know what the handbrake is, then some places call it the e-brake, which I don't quite understand because it's not electronic or anything. I mean, on more modern cars, they do have an electronic version of it or something like that. I don't know how that works. But yeah, we just call it a handbrake because, well, it's a brake, and you use your hand for it. And when you go sideways, then it's a handbrakey because you're braking with your hand to go sideways. But if you're actually trying to brake directly with your hand, then it would still be a handbrakey because you would be braking your hand to go around the corner. Haha! See? Logic. It works. And you know what? For being a wobbly mess of a car, it makes up for it with really high top speeds and stuff, because that just did a 221, which is actually a really good speed. Oh wow, that was a big crash. Really good. Yeah. It lost out to the concept car. The Randall Franks then basically take it from there. The Suzuki is so goddamn fast. I can't believe how fast that Suzumabachi is. The Suzuki. My god. I think I did that in like 1 or 2 laps or something like that. That thing did a 208. That thing is insane. Like literally, that thing is crazy.
Go around and floor to the end. Jesus, this thing is fast. Holy cow, are you serious?
So it beat out the Nobel Zoomatron, beat out the Decapitated, which I suppose, sure, the Decapitated was just a very mild but really cool convertible. And it beat some of the other Nissan 420Zs. It beat out the PCPP1. That's pretty impressive. And then, yeah, just a whole bunch of other cars. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe not what I did to this car at the end here, but yeah. I'll catch you guys next time. Enjoy. Bye.